Ladies and gentlemen, the Durham probe special counsel, when William Barr was Attorney General, essentially visited Italy and other countries. Well, Italy and Australia, according to ABC News. Why has AG Barr enlisted Italy and Australia to review the origins of the Russia probe? Attorney General Bill Barr visited Italy in an unannounced trip last week. Okay, this was on October of 2019. This is an ABC News article. Washington Post. Italy gets caught up in an unproven theory of Trump's allies. William Barr visited Italy to reportedly quiz intelligence officials about whether a professor who was working against Trump... Okay, that professor, by the way, denied and refuted the initial claims he made. He was also accused of lying to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but the Mueller probe special counsel didn't charge him. Isn't that interesting? Wow, very bizarre. But anyway, Reuters. Italy PM says Barr's meetings with Rome intelligence were legitimate. So, you look, the Daily Beast. Barr went to Rome to hear a secret tape from Joseph Mifsud, the professor who helped start the probe. Okay, so Mifsud denied everything that he accused George Papadopoulos of. He denied. So, you look, there's a New York Post article, but I mean, here, New York Post, mysterious Maltese professor denied making offer to Papadopoulos' new doc show. Okay, that's a New York Post article from September 2nd, 2020. I'm only reading from reputable sources. New York Post, ABC News, The Daily Beast, Reuters, The Guardian. U.S. Attorney General met with Italian officials to discuss the origins of the probe. The Guardian, that was October of 2019. So in October of 2019, you had William Barr do the following. Okay, hit subscribe to this channel. We're over 196,000 subs. Ladies and gentlemen, 196,000 subs. I'm doing it all myself, people, and it's with your help, ladies and gentlemen. I'm reading from reputable sources, public record data. I read you the actual indictments and give you my thought process on the upcoming stock market collapse and catastrophe globally. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have a huge segment, a very important segment on the GameStop, Melvin Capital, the hedge fund that was crushed by the short squeeze. Definitely hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. That segment is below in the pinned comment. Share that everywhere. I'll have another segment on the Stock Market Crash channel tonight. So definitely tell your friends about that channel. That's in the pinned comment. And my Patreon is below if you want to support my work. Also, if you want to give a super thanks, the super thanks button is right next to the like and the share. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'm going to thank each and every one of you. We're at 196,000 subs. We're almost at 200,000 subs. It's going to be a huge accomplishment because I didn't join a network, a $20 million venture capital funded network, or I didn't do anything but work hard and have the most amazing subscribers in the world. You watching right now, you watching this channel, H.A. Goodman. If you were watching me when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet 5 years ago or 6 years ago, or you're watching me now supporting DeSantis, Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, anyone who's opposed by the Lincoln Project, but I voted for President Trump. Obviously, I want a great economy. I don't want record highs in inflation and a geopolitical nightmare in Europe and record highs through the roof with energy prices. I mean, we can go on, contracting GDP, going into a recession. We had a great economy under Trump. So yeah, it's a definite, clear line between Bernie Sanders, who was cheated, by the way, and accused of working with you-know-who, just like Trump was, just like Tulsi Gabbard, just like all these people who opposed the Lincoln Project, or who are opposed by the Lincoln Project. Clear line between Bernie 2016 and Donald Trump or DeSantis 2024. Clear, direct line. And you can quote me on that if you're watching. If you're a wonderful, morally superior, beautiful, highly educated journalist or liberal Democrat. There is a direct line between Bernie Sanders 2016 and Trump and DeSantis in 2024. A direct line. And I think anyone who has common sense and a good grasp of logic and critical thinking skills will vote for either Trump or DeSantis in 2024. But hit subscribe. Thank you so very much. You watching right now, you're so awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you. God bless you. And thank you for your support in this channel. I'm just so excited and happy. We're at 196. We're going to get to 200,000 very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the reason that William Barr visited Italy and why it's being reported. Actually, there's a great Italian journalist, Cesare Sacchetti. He's writing about it in his website, The Eye of the Needle. Italian journalist. A lot of these, okay, what happened was the following. Here's why he had to visit Australia, Alexander Downer, and Italy, Joseph Mifsud, or other, issues pertaining to that. The United States intelligence community had nothing on Trump. This was the first time in the history of the United States of America, where unelected officials, intel officials, worked with other intel officials to gather dirt, political dirt, on an incoming president. It's never happened before. This is not a peaceful transition of power between an incoming candidate, an incoming president, and an outgoing president. It's never happened before in the United States. These agencies, whether it's the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Central Intelligence Agency, or the National Security Agency, are meant to protect us from outside, adversaries outside of the country. They're not meant to be used as political tools by the Democratic Party. If you think that's hyperbole or, conspiratorial nonsense, read the indictments of Michael Sussman, Igor Danchenko, and Kevin Kleinsmith. And then look at the public record sources. Here, New York Post. Maltese professor Joseph Mifsud denied making offer to Papadopoulos. If he denied making the offer to George Papadopoulos and retracted everything, why on earth was this whole thing started? Because the badge of courage among Washington Post, wonderful Washington Post journalists and New York Times journalists, highly educated, very revered and respected, and CNN and MSNBC pundits is, well, the Steele dossier purchased by Clinton, full of lies, did not start the investigation into Trump. Well, you know what did? Joseph Mifsud. Do you know who retracted all of his claims and also lied to the Federal Bureau of Investigation? Joseph Mifsud. So now you tell me, if you're watching and you happen to stumble upon this and you're interested in this at all, or if you think you know about why Trump was investigated in the first place and that it wasn't the Steele dossier that started it, the man who started it retracted everything, and he also should have been indicted. But he wasn't. Why? Because, look, you have Peter Strzok saying we'll stop Trump. It's right there. You didn't like Trump's personality, but they didn't like Trump's personality. He was a big problem. Everything they said about him was based on every single article on Trump for 4 years. Almost every single one. And you do not see this with Biden. Rarely do you ever see this with Biden. And if you do see it, it's not that big of a story. Every single breakthrough story was people familiar with the matter, current and former U.S. officials, current staffers, anonymous sources. It was hearsay and gossip. Every story about Trump was based on hearsay and gossip. That's not journalism. It is not journalism to find a source that could be Debbie Wasserman Schultz or Clinton herself or any other person who's a liberal Democrat or who wants Democrats to defeat Trump, and then publish a story based on an anonymous source that always, every single anonymous source, the Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, and MSNBC, had every single one had a detrimental story about Trump. Isn't that a coincidence? Wow, that's such a coincidence. Not one source, nameless informer that has anything good on Hunter's laptop emails, or I mean, they're not nameless. Like you have Bublinsky, you have the person the computer repair shop, Isaac's owner. These people actually are like there. With stories about Trump, it was always a faceless, nameless individual with information that was so important it had to be published. They fabricated almost everything you heard about Trump. And then you get these people who don't like, you have to understand with Donald Trump, people who never cared about politics, who just voted Democrat their whole lives, started reading the New York Post. the New York Times. I wish they read the New York Post, which is one of the biggest, greatest publications we have in this country and in the world. But they started reading. I know these people. They're very, very wonderful, highly educated people. They never were into politics ever a day in their life. Barely, really never into politics. Then Donald Trump came into office, and suddenly they started reading the New York Times and the Washington Post. And they didn't realize that it's not the New York Times and Washington Post, or even CNN of 10 years ago, or even of 5 or 6 years ago. They're completely different publications and cable stations. They're extensions of the Democratic Party. It would be impossible for a journalist at those locations to look at evidence or to actually admit that Trump was framed and set up. Virtually impossible. You could literally have text messages saying, "We'll stop Trump," or a dossier literally purchased by his direct political rivals. People indicted like Kevin Kleinsmith for deceiving FISA judges. They still will not admit he was set up and framed. It is impossible for them. So William Barr, the Durham probe special counsel, essentially visited these other countries because the United States intelligence community never derived anything from within the buildings or the corridors of those agencies. They had to use external information, either outsourced, given to them by Michael Sussman, or by Law Firm 1, individuals, attorneys within Law Firm 1, who will probably get indicted, almost certainly. Probably, let's say. To be fair, let's just say we don't know, but very likely. To give them information. So the United States government, people within Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, they didn't have anything derived from their own sources. They needed to be given information from people outside of the United States government and apparently intel officials in Italy and Australia and other countries. There's a Guardian article, I forgot, I can't find it right now, but initially stating that foreign intelligence services were warning U.S. intelligence about Trump being influenced by another country. This is the story that tens of millions of Americans wanted to believe. They could not believe that Clinton was defeated by Trump, and I was saying that in The Hill, the Huffington Post, and Salon endlessly. And the wonderful people who were beautiful, educated, morally superior tried to mock me, and at the end of the day, I was right, as I usually am on a lot of things. Sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm usually right on a lot of things pertaining to politics and economics now with the stock market crash channel. Not right about everything, but even when I'm wrong, I have the pulse of what's really going on, so... But I told everyone Clinton would lose to Trump. And they laughed that off. And then when it happened, it was an absolute catastrophe of biblical proportions. And so then, oh my God. And now they're saying, oh, Trump, he doesn't accept democracy. Well, these people are the same people who said, oh yeah, he was installed by another country. Wasn't he installed by another country? And now these people are still saying, well, I don't care what the Mueller probe says. I still think. And if you reverse that with certain topics, oh my God, you're like, the biggest problem to democracy and humanity and decency. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. 196,000 subs, and it's because of you. You watching right now are amazing. Thank you. And I'll be back in about an hour and a half or so. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 200,000 subscribers. I have a big segment on the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. Please go ahead and watch that. I will have another segment on the Stock Market Crash channel tonight. Please watch that later on tonight. Hit subscribe there. Tell your friends who are interested in the stock market. I mean, if you're in the market now and you're about to retire, you have no business being in the market. You have no business being in the market. Really, because it is going to be a catastrophe. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. I'll see you very soon.